The Tellarians watched Earth for hundreds of years. They used special technology to hide their ships and stations. Humans couldn't see them at all. The Tellarians had one job: watch humans grow and develop without getting involved. They would only make contact when humans were ready to join the galactic community. Commander Mina sat at her control panel on the main Tellarian observation vessel. A red light blinked on her screen. She frowned as she read the message. Something impossible had happened. A human research center in Geneva had picked up energy readings from her ship's engines. Somehow, humans had created technology that could detect their hidden ships. This wasn't supposed to happen for at least 50 more years. "Commander," said Officer Jin, looking up from his station, "the humans are actively scanning our ship. Their quantum detection equipment is much better than we thought." Mina's heart raced. This changed everything. The observation mission had strict rules about staying hidden. But if humans could already see them, those rules no longer made sense. She took a deep breath. "This changes our mission completely. We need to make a decision now." The crew watched her, waiting. Mina had spent 15 years studying human civilization. She knew how shocking this moment would be for them. "Open a communication channel," she finally said. "If they can see us, we must speak to them. There's no point hiding anymore." Down on Earth, Dr. Kim hadn't moved from her chair for 3 hours. The strange energy pattern on her quantum scanner had appeared during a routine test of their new equipment. At first, she thought it was a mistake. But after checking everything 3 times, she realized something incredible. The pattern showed an artificial structure in orbit around Earth, one that didn't match any known satellite or space station. "This can't be right," she muttered, adjusting the settings again. But the reading remained the same. The structure was definitely there, perfectly hidden until now. Dr. Kim called her team into the lab. They all stared at the screen in silence. "We need to tell someone about this," said her assistant. "Who would believe us?" Dr. Kim asked. "We need more data first." She sent a focused quantum scan directly at the mysterious object. The lab computers worked to create a more detailed image. Slowly, the shape became clearer on her screen. It wasn't a satellite or space debris. It had a perfect design that could only be artificial, and it wasn't human-made. Dr. Kim's hand shook as she realized what they had found. "We're not alone," she whispered. Just then, her computer screen flickered in change. A message appeared, written in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are the Tellarian Observation Mission. We come in peace." Dr. Kim couldn't breathe for a moment. This was first contact with an alien civilization. Everything would change after today. In her ship above Earth, Commander Mina watched the human facility with her sensors. She could see the humans gathering around their screens, looking at her message. "They're responding," Officer Jin said. A simple message appeared on Mina's screen. "Who are you? Why are you watching us?" Mina had prepared for this moment her whole career, but she never expected it to happen today. The Tellarian High Council would be upset about this unplanned contact, but they would have to adapt. "Tell them who we are," Mina ordered. "Basic information only. Let them know we mean no harm." As Officer Jin prepared the message, Mina looked at the blue planet below. Humans were about to learn they weren't alone in the universe. Their world would never be the same. Neither would the galactic community once humans joined it. Back in Geneva, government officials and military personnel flooded into Dr. Kim's lab. Security teams surrounded the building. World leaders were being notified. Dr. Kim ignored the chaos around her. She kept her eyes on the screen as more messages came from the alien ship. They called themselves Tellarians. They had been watching Earth for centuries. They were part of something called the Galactic Consortium. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Dr. Kim typed. The answer came quickly. "Because you found us. Your technology has advanced faster than we expected. We believe it's time to talk." Dr. Kim felt a mix of pride and fear. Humanity had reached a turning point without even knowing it. She wondered what would happen next. Would Earth panic? Would leaders react with fear or hope? What would the Tellurians expect from humans now? As if reading her thoughts, another message appeared. We would like to arrange a meeting. This conversation should happen face to face. Dr. Kim looked up from her screen. Military generals and government officials were arguing behind her. Security experts were trying to determine if this was a threat. Scientists were checking the data again and again. But Dr. Kim knew this was real. Aliens had been watching humanity for centuries. And now, because of her team's discovery, everything would change. Earth wasn't alone, and soon they would meet their cosmic neighbors. The impossible had just become possible. First contact had begun. For 3 days after first contact, Earth was in chaos. Some people celebrated in the streets. Others hid in fear. Religious leaders called emergency meetings. Military bases went on high alert. News channels showed nothing else. The Tellurian ships appeared suddenly above major cities. There were 7 of them, each as big as a small town. They turned off their hiding technology all at once. Millions of people saw them with their own eyes. Even the biggest doubters couldn't deny what was happening now. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every country argued about what to do. Some wanted to attack the alien ships. Others wanted to welcome them. Most were just scared. Admiral Park sat silently during most of the meeting. He had spent 30 years in the military and had seen many strange things. But nothing like this. When the shouting got too loud, he stood up. "We need to meet them face to face," he said simply. "We need answers, not fear." The room fell quiet. The Secretary General nodded slowly. "Admiral Park will lead our first contact team." 2 days later, a small Earth ship carried Admiral Park, Dr. Kim, and 5 other chosen representatives toward a meeting point in orbit. Dr. Kim looked out the window at Earth below. It looked so small now. "Do you think they're dangerous?" she asked Admiral Park. He kept his eyes forward. "If they wanted to hurt us, they could have done it centuries ago." Their ship approached an unusual structure that hadn't been there a week before. The Tellurians had built a simple meeting station in orbit. It was a neutral place, not Earth, not a Tellurian ship. Inside the station, Admiral Park led his team through a round door. The room beyond was large and empty except for a table in the center. On the other side stood 5 beings. The Tellurians looked almost human, but not quite. They were taller, with skin that seemed to glow slightly. Their eyes were larger, and they had no hair. They wore simple blue uniforms with no visible weapons. Commander Minna stepped forward. She wore a small device on her throat. When she spoke, it translated her words instantly. "Welcome," she said. "We are pleased to finally meet you properly." Admiral Park nodded stiffly. "Earth has many questions for you." "We expected that," Minna replied. "We will answer what we can." The 2 groups sat at the table. Dr. Kim couldn't stop staring at the aliens. This was history happening right in front of her eyes. "You were watching us without our knowledge," Admiral Park said. "For how long?" Commander Minna's expression was hard to read. "We began observing Earth 834 of your years ago. We have been studying human development since before your industrial age." The Earth team looked at each other in shock. Dr. Kim's mind raced with the implications. These beings had watched humanity's greatest achievements and worst wars from above. "You were not supposed to discover us for another 50 years, Minna continued. "Your quantum physics breakthrough was unexpected." Admiral Park's eyes narrowed. "Why were you watching us at all?" "Because humans possess something unique in the galaxy," she replied. "A resilience and adaptability we have never encountered. You solve problems in ways we cannot predict." "What does that mean?" asked the economic advisor on the Earth team. Another Tellurian spoke up. "Most intelligent species develop in similar patterns. They become predictable. Humans are different. You take unusual paths forward. You create art alongside weapons. You fight wars, but also save dying species. You're contradictory in ways that interest us greatly." Dr. Kim leaned forward. She had been chosen for this team because she had made the discovery, but now she represented all of humanity's scientific questions. "Are you friends or enemies?" she asked directly. Mina seemed to consider the question carefully. "Neither yet," she finally said. "But your species has forced our hand before we were ready. There are others in the galaxy who now know of your advancement, and not all will be pleased." The room fell silent. Admiral Park's military mind immediately understood the warning. "Are we in danger?" he asked. "Not immediately," Mina replied. "But yes, potentially. Your discovery has announced your technological advancement to the galaxy. Some civilizations believe developing species should be controlled or limited." Dr. Kim felt cold suddenly. "How many other civilizations are there?" "The Galactic Consortium includes 17 spacefaring species," Mina explained. "We Talarians have traditionally argued for allowing natural development of promising species like yours." "And now?" Admiral Park asked. "Now we must prepare you," Mina said. "Your world will need to adapt quickly. The consortium will want to evaluate humanity's readiness for wider contact." As the meeting continued, Dr. Kim took careful notes. The Talarians explained basic facts about the galaxy and its politics. They described technologies humans hadn't even imagined yet. They outlined the tests humanity would face in the coming months. When they returned to Earth, Admiral Park addressed the waiting United Nations. "They aren't here to conquer us," he said. "But we have accidentally announced ourselves to a larger community before we were ready. We must prepare quickly." That night, Dr. Kim couldn't sleep. She stood at her window, looking up at the stars. They weren't empty anymore. They were filled with civilizations, politics, dangers, and possibilities. Everything humans thought they knew was about to change. History books would need to be rewritten. Science would advance by centuries overnight. And ordinary people would need to understand that humanity was just one young species in a very old, very large galaxy. The revelation had only begun. It took 3 months for Earth to stop panicking and start working together. Old enemies became partners. Countries that had fought for centuries now shared information freely. There was no choice. Humanity needed to stand united. The newly formed Earth Alliance brought together all nations under one emergency council. For the first time in history, humans weren't fighting each other. They were too busy preparing for something much bigger. President Lee, once the leader of South Korea, now stood as the first president of the Earth Alliance. He didn't sleep much these days. Nobody did. "What do we know about this consortium?" he asked during the daily briefing. Admiral Park pointed to the star map on the wall. "The Talarians have shared basic information. 17 advanced species control this part of the galaxy. They've been organized for over 10,000 years." Dr. Kim added, "They have rules about how developing planets like Earth should be treated. We've accidentally broken those rules by advancing too quickly and spotting them." The briefing room was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. Humanity had caught the attention of powers they couldn't possibly fight. "Ambassador Mina has requested an urgent meeting," an aide announced suddenly. President Lee straightened his jacket. "Send her in." Ambassador Mina entered with 2 other Talarians. In the past months, humans had grown somewhat used to their appearance, but there was still something unsettling about their too perfect movements and glowing skin. "Thank you for seeing us," Mina said. Her translation device had improved. It now matched her lip movements almost perfectly. "I'm afraid I bring difficult news." President Lee gestured to an empty chair. "Please, sit." "The Consortium Council has met regarding Earth," she explained. "There is disagreement about how to proceed with your species." Admiral Park leaned forward. "What kind of disagreement?" "The Talarians have argued for your independence and natural development," Mina said. "We believe your species has great potential, but others disagree." "Others?" President Lee asked. "The Vorn, particularly," she replied. "They are one of the oldest species in the consortium. They believe unpredictable species should be controlled until they prove themselves trustworthy." The room temperature seemed to drop. Dr. Kim watched the faces around her grow pale. What exactly does controlled mean? She asked. Quarantine, Minna said simply. Restrictions on your technology development, oversight of your governments, limitations on your movement beyond Earth orbit. President Lee stood up suddenly. That's unacceptable. We will not become a prisoner species on our own planet. I understand, Minna replied calmly. But you should know, the Vorn delegation is arriving tomorrow to present these demands formally. The next day, the United Nations building in New York hosted its first alien delegation beyond the Talarians. The Vorn were nothing like the almost human Talarians. They stood nearly 3 meters tall with hard exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their ambassador moved with clicking sounds as its insect-like legs touched the floor. Cameras weren't allowed in the meeting, but everyone on Earth watched their screens anxiously, waiting for news. Inside the chamber, the Vorn ambassador spoke through a translation device. Its voice was flat and mechanical. The consortium has observed your development with concern, it stated. You develop weapons alongside art. You fight wars among yourselves. You are unpredictable and dangerous. Ambassador Minna stood nearby, looking uncomfortable. The Talarians disagree with this assessment. Humans have shown great capacity for cooperation and peace. Recent cooperation, the Vorn corrected, forced by circumstance, not natural. President Lee stepped forward. His voice remained steady despite his fear. We will not accept restrictions on our development or movement through our own solar system. The Vorn's compound eyes seemed to study him. Then you must prove yourselves, it finally said. Solve the Indris paradox, a problem no consortium species has solved in 5,000 years. Succeed, and you earn provisional status. Fail, and accept consortium oversight. After the meeting, President Lee gathered his top advisors. What is this Indris paradox? Ambassador Minna displayed a complex equation on the screen. It's a quantum gravitational problem discovered by an ancient species. It appears simple but has proven impossible to solve. Many believe it cannot be solved. Admiral Park frowned. They're setting us up to fail. Yes, Minna admitted. The Vorn do not believe you can succeed. But the challenge is fair by consortium standards. If you solve it, they must honor the agreement. President Lee looked at Dr. Kim. You discovered the Talarians. Can you solve this? Dr. Kim stared at the equation. It seemed to shift before her eyes, like it was alive. I'll need the best minds on Earth, she said. And even then, I don't know if it's possible. You have 6 months, Minna said quietly. After that, the consortium will vote on Earth's status. The next day, Dr. Kim moved into a new research center built specifically for this challenge. 200 of Earth's greatest scientists joined her. They came from every field: physics, mathematics, biology, even art and music. If humans were going to solve this with their unpredictability, they needed all types of thinkers. The Indris paradox glowed on screens throughout the facility. Dr. Kim felt its weight on her shoulders. Solve this, or humanity loses its freedom. Where do we even start? Asked one young physicist. Dr. Kim looked around at the gathered minds. People who would normally compete now working together. We start by thinking in ways no one has thought before, she said. We have 6 months to do the impossible. Outside the facility, construction crews worked day and night, building Earth's first unified defense system. Just in case they failed, the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Inside the Global Research Center, 200 of Earth's brightest minds worked around the clock. They ate at their desks. They slept on cots. Some didn't sleep at all. The Indris paradox filled every screen and whiteboard. It seemed to mock them with its simple appearance but impossible complexity. 3 different approaches had already failed completely. Dr. Kim rubbed her tired eyes. 4 months had passed. They only had 2 months left before the consortium would decide humanity's fate. We're thinking about this wrong, she said to the room. No one looked up from their work. They'd heard this before. I mean it. We're all trained scientists. We're trying to solve this like the aliens would. A mathematician from India sighed. And how else would we solve it? Magic. Dr. Kim shook her head. The Tellarians said our unpredictability is our strength. We need to use approaches that the consortium species would never try. That night, Dr. Kim made a decision. She sent out invitations to people who weren't scientists at all. Artists, musicians, children, farmers, and others who thought differently. Maybe fresh eyes would see what trained minds couldn't. Among these newcomers was Nia, a 15-year-old musical prodigy from Tanzania. She had perfect pitch and could compose complex symphonies in her head. She had never studied advanced physics. When Nia first saw the equation, she tilted her head. "It looks like music," she said simply. The scientists nearby chuckled, but Dr. Kim was interested. "What do you mean?" "The patterns," Nia explained, pointing. "They repeat but with variations, like a musical theme." "Can I hear it?" Dr. Kim was confused. "Hear it?" "Yes. Can you turn the equation into sound?" Each variable could be a note. The request was strange, but Dr. Kim was desperate enough to try anything. A programmer wrote a simple code to convert the mathematical values into musical tones. When they played it, most people just heard random noise, but Nia's eyes widened. "It's unfinished," she said excitedly. "It's like a song with missing parts." For 3 days, Nia worked with a small team, treating the equation like a piece of music with missing notes. She filled in gaps based on harmonic patterns that only she could hear. "Try this," she told the quantum physicists, showing them her completed song. When they translated her musical notations back into mathematical values, something unexpected happened. The equation began working. The paradox that had stumped the galaxy's greatest minds for 5,000 years started to yield results. "This is impossible," whispered a senior physicist, checking the calculations again. Dr. Kim immediately called Admiral Park. "We have something. I can't explain it yet, but we have a direction." Over the next few weeks, the team combined Nia's musical intuition with quantum mechanics. They discovered the Indra's paradox contained a hidden pattern, a mathematical harmony that conventional approaches couldn't detect. 2 weeks before the deadline, Dr. Kim stood before President Lee and the Earth Alliance Council. "We have solved it," she said simply. The room erupted in questions, but Admiral Park raised his hand for silence. "Explain it to us, Doctor." "The consortium species all approach this from advanced mathematical perspectives," she explained. "But humans still rely on intuitive thinking alongside computation. We see patterns where pure logic fails." She gestured to Nia, who stood nervously at her side. This young woman heard what the rest of us couldn't see. The paradox wasn't just mathematics. It was a pattern language that needed to be completed, not just calculated. President Lee looked skeptical. "And you're certain the solution is correct?" "We've verified it through every method we have," Dr. Kim confirmed. "It works. The solution predicts quantum gravitational effects perfectly." 1 week later, representatives from 7 consortium species arrived on Earth to receive humanity's answer. They gathered in a large conference room at the United Nations. Dr. Kim presented their solution. As she explained the musical approach, the aliens exchanged looks that were impossible to read. When she finished, silence filled the room. The Vorn ambassador's exoskeleton clicked as it moved forward. "This solution must be verified." A team of alien scientists reviewed the work. Hours passed. Humans waited anxiously. Finally, the verification team returned. "The solution is correct," announced a small gray alien that hadn't spoken before. The reaction was immediate. The Vorn delegation fell completely silent. The Tellarians appeared stunned. 3 other species immediately huddled together in private consultation. "How?" the Vorn ambassador finally asked. Its mechanical voice actually showed emotion for the first time. This paradox was designed to be unsolvable without at least 2,000 years of quantum evolution. Admiral Park couldn't help smiling. "We don't think like you do. That's our strength." Minna nodded slightly, a gesture of respect that Dr. Kim had learned meant deep admiration in Tellurian culture. And this is why we have advocated for humanity's inclusion. The galaxy needs your perspective. Nia, who had been quiet throughout the verification, stepped forward. "May I ask a question?" she said softly. The aliens turned toward her. The Vorn ambassador's compound eyes focused on the young girl. "Was the paradox made to be music?" she asked. A ripple of movement passed through the alien delegations. The Vorn ambassador turned to its colleagues, then back to Nia. "The Indris were masters of what you might call music," it admitted. "They created the paradox as both a mathematical problem and a cultural artifact. No species has recognized the harmonic component in 5,000 years. That evening, Earth celebrated. Humanity had passed the test. They would remain free to develop in their own way." But Dr. Kim sat quietly with Nia, looking at the night sky. "What else might we hear that others cannot?" Dr. Kim wondered aloud. Nia smiled. "The universe has many songs. We just need to listen." The UEA's horizon floated in Earth orbit, gleaming in the sunlight. It was the most beautiful ship ever built. 1 year ago, humans didn't even know aliens existed. Now they had built a ship that could travel faster than light. "She's ready," said the chief engineer proudly. Admiral Park nodded. After months of work with Tellurian teachers, humans had learned enough to build their own ship. The design was part Earth, part alien technology. Like the solution to the Indris paradox, it combined the best of both worlds. President Lee addressed the crew before departure. "You carry the hopes of all humanity with you. 1 year ago, we learned we were not alone. Today, we take our place among the stars." The passenger list included representatives from every continent: scientists, diplomats, artists, and military personnel. Dr. Kim stood by the window, looking down at Earth growing smaller below them. Admiral Park joined her. "Nervous?" he asked. She smiled, excited, and a little scared. Nia was there too. After her breakthrough with the Indris paradox, the young musical genius had become Earth's secret weapon. Her way of thinking might help solve other alien puzzles. The Tellurian guide ship appeared alongside them. Commander Mena's voice came through the communication system. "Are you ready to make history, Horizon?" "Ready and waiting," Admiral Park replied. The Horizon's engines powered up. Stars blurred around them. Then, with a flash of light, they were traveling faster than anyone from Earth had ever gone before. The journey to the consortium's central world took 3 days. Dr. Kim spent most of that time studying. The Tellurians had shared basic information about all 17 member species, their histories, and their customs. The humans would need this knowledge to succeed. On the 3rd day they arrived. A massive space station orbited between twin stars, one blue, one orange. The station was bigger than any city on Earth, with sections built by each member species according to their own designs. "It's beautiful," Naya whispered, looking out the window. Commander Minna met them at the docking bay. She wore formal Tellurian robes instead of her usual uniform. "Welcome to Nexus Station," she said, "the heart of the consortium." As they walked through the station, aliens of all shapes and sizes stopped to stare at the humans. Some looked almost human themselves. Others were completely different: floating gas clouds, crystalline structures, or things with too many limbs and eyes. "They're all watching us," Dr. Kim said quietly. "Your species will change everything," Minna told Admiral Park and Dr. Kim as they approached the central section. "The others fear this, but we Tellurians have always believed that evolution requires disruption." Admiral Park raised an eyebrow. "Disruption? Your solutions to old problems are unexpected," Minna explained. "The consortium has grown comfortable. Some would say stagnant." They entered a vast chamber with seats arranged in circles. Representatives from all 17 species were already waiting. The human delegation took their assigned places. Dr. Kim noticed the Vorn delegation watching them with their compound eyes. The central area of the chamber suddenly glowed. A being made of pure light appeared, suspended in midair. It had no clear shape, just swirling patterns of brightness. The High Arbiter, Minna whispered. The oldest living member of the consortium. The chamber fell silent as the glowing being spoke. Its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. We welcome the representatives of Earth, it said. Today marks a historic moment. The admission of the 18th member species to our consortium. Dr. Kim felt a shiver run down her spine. This was really happening. Humanity joins us at a critical time, the High Arbiter continued. The consortium faces threats from beyond our explored regions, intelligences that defy our understanding. We have maintained peace for 12,000 cycles, but stagnation has left us vulnerable. Murmurs spread through the chamber. This was clearly news to some of the representatives. What kind of threats? Someone called out. Entities that exist between dimensions, the High Arbiter answered. They have destroyed 3 outer colonies already. Our traditional approaches have failed. Admiral Park glanced at Dr. Kim. They hadn't been told about this. He stood up, and all eyes turned to him. On Earth, we have a saying. Necessity is the mother of invention, he said clearly. We've spent our history solving problems to survive. Dr. Kim stood beside him. And now we'll help solve yours. The Talarian delegation exchanged knowing glances. Mina looked pleased. Later, as they left the chamber, the Vorn ambassador approached them. Its hard exoskeleton clicked as it moved. We were wrong about your species, it said through its translator. The Indris paradox proved that. Perhaps you will prove us wrong again with these new threats. Admiral Park nodded respectfully. We'll certainly try. That night, the human delegation gathered in their quarters. They had been given a large section of the station to make into an Earth embassy. They need us, Dr. Kim said, still processing the day's events. These advanced species actually need us. They need how we think. Nia corrected. How we see patterns differently. Admiral Park looked out the window at the twin stars. And we need them too. There are dangers out there we never imagined. Dr. Kim thought about Earth, now so far away. Everything had changed in just 1 year. Humans had gone from thinking they were alone to joining a galactic community. They had faced tests and challenges and somehow succeeded. And now a new chapter was beginning. Humanity would no longer just watch the stars. They would travel among them. They would no longer wonder about alien life. They would work alongside it. The species that had been watched for centuries had become the watchers. The observers had become the observed. And together, they would face whatever waited in the darkness between the stars. The end.